a day after the deadly crash between a passenger jet and a Black Hawk Army helicopter that killed everyone on board the two aircraft, President Donald Trump appears to be placing the blame on diversity.
Obama, Biden, and the Democrats put policy first, and they put politics at a level that nobody's ever seen, because this was the lowest level. Their policy was horrible, and their politics was even worse. The Federal Aviation Administration, this was before I got to office, recently, second term. The FAA is actively recruiting workers who suffer severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric problems, and other mental and physical conditions under a diversity and inclusion hiring initiative spelled out on the agency's website. The initiative is part of the FAA's diversity and inclusion hiring plan. Think of that. The initiative is part of the FAA's diversity and inclusion hiring plan, which says diversity is integral to achieving FAA's mission of ensuring safe and efficient travel. I don't think so. I think it's just the opposite.
So that right there is just, I mean, what is this? Blaming diversity hiring, like, oh, these people got have so much, so many problems. I can't believe they're hiring them. Oh, yes. No, what you're saying there is anyone who is not white, male, or completely able-bodied is inferior and should not be working in these jobs. That's what he's saying. Now, of course, he was challenged by a reporter on that, and here is that exchange.
Are you saying this crash was somehow caused and the result of diversity hiring? And what evidence have you seen to support these claims?
It just could have been. We have a high standard. We've had a much higher standard than anybody else. And there are things where you have to go by brain power. You have to go by psychological quality. And psychological quality is a very important element of it. These are various very powerful tests that we put to use, and they were terminated by Biden. And Biden went by a standard that's the exact opposite. So we don't know.
Well, you got to go by brain power. I mean, we even got tests that you can, that go by brain power. Really? Well, that's not true, because if there were tests for fitness of office, you wouldn't be in it right now. Okay, but look, here's the reality of the situation when it comes to this crash. The FAA is dangerously understaffed, has been for a while. And Trump just put a hiring freeze for air traffic controllers because they're government workers, right? Not only that, but he pushed out the head of the FAA because Elon Musk did not like him, okay? Now, as this for when it comes to this specific airport, remember, there have been safety concerns there for a long time. They continued cramming more and more flights into this airport that it could handle, right? According to air traffic control data obtained by the Washington Post, a similar incident almost unfolded at the airport just 24 hours earlier. And look, there have been several attempts at legislation to not only increase staff, but also, hey, why don't we, start worrying a little bit more about safety and stop cramming more flights in here, okay? Unless we have some sort of plan to, make these flights safer, right? But that didn't happen. No. Now, per that data, the Post reported a Republic Airways flight jet trying to land at DCA had to make a second approach when a helicopter appeared near its flight path. So, yeah, a CNN review of a federal incident reports found that at least 2 other pilots have reported near misses with helicopters while landing at DCA. So there's a helicopter base nearby. And according to the New York Times, an internal FAA report suggested the air traffic controller on duty at DCA the night of the collision was doing a job typically handled by 2 people. Airplane and helicopter traffic is normally handled by 2 separate controllers until 9:30 p.m. But a supervisor allegedly merged the 2 jobs before the allotted changeover time, a source told the New York Times. A preliminary Federal Aviation Administration report concluded that staffing levels were not normal at the time. So they didn't have enough staff. This doesn't have anything to do with diversity. Which, by the way, the diversity stuff that he was talking about actually started under the Trump administration. A release from April 2019 on the FAA website says the Federal Aviation Administration today announced a pilot program to help people, prepare people with disabilities for career in air traffic operations. A key focus for the FAA's Office of Civil Rights is to identify specific opportunities for people with targeted disabilities, empower them, and facilitate their entry into a more diverse and inclusive workforce. Those targeted disabilities are hearing, total deafness in both ears, vision, blind, missing extremities, partial paralysis, complete paralysis, epilepsy, severe intellectual disability, psychiatric disability, and dwarfism. Why would dwarfism prevent you from being an air traffic controller? That doesn't make any sense. Plenty of people that have dwarfism that have, fulfilling careers. So I don't. Again, ridiculous, right? Now, that said, the FAA website said that individuals with these targeted disabilities have the greatest difficulty obtaining employment. This is the only protected group for which federal agencies may have a hiring goal. So, look, I'm all in favor of allowing people, helping people who normally get passed over for careers, get careers. Why shouldn't we do that? And again, that was something that happened under Trump. They had a diversity program, and then Trump gets back into office and then gets rid of it, claiming that, oh yeah, we're targeting DEI. So that was on January 22nd, 2025. Okay, before this deadly crash. Flight should be supervised by the best employees. President Donald J. Trump has signed a presidential memorandum terminating a Biden administration FAA. Actually, that was Trump's. But anyway, that prioritized diversity, equity, and inclusion over safety and efficiency. This presidential memorandum orders the Secretary of Transportation and FAA administrator to immediately stop Biden DEI hiring programs and return to non-discriminatory merit-based hiring. And you can see all of that from the Trump memo. So here's what's going on. Trump first gets rid of the so-called DEI initiative that he put into place in his first administration, put a hiring freeze on air traffic controllers who are already dangerously understaffed. And you know why they're understaffed? Because that's a lack of funding that was appropriated by Congress for the hiring and training of new airport control tower workers. Okay? So Congress, mainly Republicans, okay, they're like, we don't need to hire more government workers. No, we don't need to do that. No. We're not going to do that, because if we do that, that means we got to pay them. And if we pay them, that means we can't have tax cuts for the rich. So, I mean, air safety or tax cuts for the rich, which would we rather have? And every time they go for the tax cuts, of course. Look, here's the thing. Traffic controllers right now are overworked, okay? According to the Times, many air traffic controllers work 6 days a week, 10 hours, at least 10 hours a day. Nobody can keep that up indefinitely without making mistakes, especially in the DCA, okay? That's an incredibly difficult place to work at. And yet the supervisor's like, oh yeah, no, do the job of 2 people. That's fine, nothing bad will happen. Oops. And of course, as I mentioned in a previous report, this airport particularly kept jamming in more flights, thanks to both lawmakers that wanted more direct flights back to their districts, as well as lobbying from groups like Delta. So, look, this tragedy was years in the making, going all the way back to like 2000, when they started saying, let's get more flights in here. And of course, what contributed is lobbying, the lack of funding from Congress, so they couldn't hire more people. And of course, Trump's most recent actions with freezing of the hiring and getting rid of the FAA leadership, among other things. Look, let's be very clear. This had absolutely nothing to do with diversity. Okay? Nothing to do with any of that. Blaming DEI or black people, disabled people, etc., right, is ridiculous. And it is meant to distract people from the fact that this is a result of the long-term project Republicans have been on, which is dismantling the government to try to sell it off to their donors piece by piece. That's what Trump and his friends are doing. Okay, they're basically finally enacting the program of drowning, shrinking government so small that you can drown it in the bathtub. And if that means that you or your family members have to die in a plane crash, well, it's not their problem. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.